What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I am Jay from Jay's Life Out Loud, a channel about nothing, but it's about something. So I know it's been a while since I did a video, let alone did a video in the Man Cave Studios, but it's the weekend. Haven't been up too much, but I wanted to do a very short video on two movies that I went to see. I went to see the new Black Panther. Took a Friday off and did some me time. Took myself out to breakfast. And I went to see that movie, Black Panther. A week before that, I took a Friday. Took myself to see, I think it was, what is it called? The Woman King. And if you watch my videos and you've seen the love that I have for my people, both of these movies I cried. I cried like a baby. There were certain scenes and certain things that went on in the movie that just reminded me of the good and the bad of our people, black people. Definitely the positive of how strong we are, how intelligent we are, what is the word that I'm looking for? We are survivors. We are true survivors. You can talk about any race you want to, but when it comes to black folks, we are, we didn't only have a season that we were kept as slaves, beaten, tortured, hung. We can go into some deep, nasty, rooted stuff that they, did to black folks back in the day that just was, very sickening, that a lot of people don't even know or wouldn't even care to hear. But we are resilient. Even up, I was talking to a coworker and we were talking about slavery. And he made a comment. He said, and it was a non-black person. He said, that was a long time ago. And when he said it, I didn't let him know, but it was almost like getting shot with a 12 gauge barrel. Seriously. That's how it could, because this person that I talk to all the time, we never went out after work, we never hung out, but he's a cool guy. And when he said it, was like, he said it so bluntly and nonchalantly, like, that was a long time ago. And I said, no, I said, I watched the video. Actually, it's not a long time ago. And not only that, even if it was a long time ago, it was the way he showed no sympathy for what happened. And I know I'm talking about the movie, but it was still like, slavery in a lot of ways may be over. And slavery is, to me, definition is to be captive, not have control of your everyday life, and somebody telling you what to do day in and day out. They can whoop you, hit you, kill you, string you up, cut your balls off. They can rape you, men or women. And I'm talking about a man doing this to you, because it did happen. But it was like, these things, just because we are not in captivity, if you're not in jail, doesn't mean that slavery is over. And as I watched these movies, both of them, it gave me, it takes you to a la-la land that doesn't exist. In both of these movies, there was a power that, in The Woman King, there was a power that the king possessed. So there was a power that his women soldiers possessed. In Black Panther, there was a power, a mighty power that the Queen possessed, that Wakanda itself possessed as a nation, as a country rather, being all black, self-sustainable. Not only being self-sustainable, being one of the smartest and the strongest countries that there were, feared by many other countries, including the United States. So we talk about one movie that was that really happened, and it was a reenactment. Some things true, some things false. And then we went into a movie that was fiction. And the power of both movies to imagine are people either going back to being kings and queens and living on their own land and living on their own continent, was very heartwarming to see. But living it, and believe me, I enjoy both movies, and I would encourage anybody to go out and see both of them. Like I said, I cried, but it was just, it makes you think. I left out of Black Panther with a different type of awareness at the moment, a different type of calming. My mind was working different. It had put me in a state of mind where my thoughts were more fluent. It was almost like I'm not going to say euphoria or a cleansing of the mind, where it wasn't cluttered with anything else. It wasn't cluttered with TikTok videos, Facebook videos, YouTube content and all this. It was clear of a lot of things. It was clear that no one can understand your story or our story as black people, because if you're not black, you wouldn't even understand. You would never get it. I could explain it to you for days, and you'll come up with ways to say, oh, but y'all do this. Oh, but y'all do that. But, oh, I can understand why they do this, or I can understand why they do that. These are things, what I'm talking about are things that I pulled out of the movie that made me think about. I also thought about, and I'm going to ramble because it has so many thoughts, but these thoughts were clear. Nobody is greater than the group. I know you probably seen like the 5 Heartbeats or whatever it was, not 5 or whatever, the one, and they was like, it was a Temptation, and they was like, ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. But if you really think about us as black people, we can only come together when it's no longer about one individual. It has to be about the group, all of us combined. It has to be a combined effort. There cannot be an I in the team. Because if you broke down and every black person followed the rule of team, money would not be an issue. You would not do something because it benefits just you and your family, which is a very small, minute thing when you look up the black as a whole. So if you are a rapper and you are rapping about killing, selling drugs, killing your community, shooting up the block, all these different things, you would have to stop and think what can I put out that will better my people? What could I put out that will put my people in a better mind state? What could I put out that will keep positive vibes amongst my community? What can I put out that will teach young men that it's not okay to kill each other? What could I put out that would teach young black women that you don't have to be butt naked to be loved? If you are an NFL player, football, NFL, basketball, or any other sport, it would take you to drop out. It would take you to drop out or begin to take your money and as a group funnel it into making our own football league, our own basketball league, and so on and so on. Somebody would say, well, why would you want to do that? That's exclusion. It's exclusion now. That's why we don't have a lot of black owners of these teams, whether it be baseball, basketball, or football. But it would take these athletes to step down or take their money and start putting it to building something else. So when they retire, it'll be investment not only for them, but black people as a whole. And I don't know if people are willing to give up that. I think there are ones, one and ones, or one of ones that are willing to do it. That means it's not one and a whole bunch of them that's going to do it, but one of ones. And we've seen it. Kaepernick with the kneeling. It was a bigger gesture than just him. It was for his people. Even though slavery is over, and that may happen way over here, and we way over here, there is still an effect from what happened way over here. Like I say, I'm throwing out my thoughts. Also, one thing that took me was that in the Black Panther, there was a change in leadership. Even the first one, you saw that there was a battle for the right to be the king. And it brought me to another thought of the matriarchs in the family. I remember when my grandmother passed, and one of my oldest cousins, which is my grandmother's, I guess, favorite cousin, and they talked a lot. My cousin Elizabeth, she said, now that your grandmother is gone, the baton is passed to you. You have to be the matriarch. You have to keep the family together. And I began to think, like, after watching this movie, I mean, even then I was like, oh, that's a lot. You're trying to put a lot on me. Like, I don't know about that, you know. But as I watched the movie, and I watched from the first movie to this movie, as far as the Black Panther goes, there is a change. There is a change in leadership. There is a change in the matriarch of the family. Most black families, the matriarch is either the grandmother or the elder of the family. Not saying that they are not men that are the matriarch, but it left me thinking that in a lot of ways, not having a matriarch in the family is why the family is disrupted. My grandmother, Leela Barnes, she was a minister. And I think in a lot of ways, in a lot of ways, she was the matriarch. But I think a lot of her prayers kept a lot of us going. And to be honest, I think a lot of her prayers kept my first marriage together. And after she was gone, not too long ago that marriage was over. And I'm not saying that it was that reason, but I'm saying I believe, I don't know, something inside of me was she was keeping it under her prayer. She was keeping it under the blood. And a lot of the family that would not see each other if it wasn't for her every day every year on Labor Day, my grandmother would have a huge barbecue. We would run along the whole side of her house and wrap around to the back. Nothing but food, tables of food. You can, whatever you could think of, from fish to chicken to pig feet, chitlins, you name it, it was on there. And there was a time of year that she would all year long, from the time that the first Labor Day was over to the time for the next one, she would buy canned goods, meat, all type of stuff, and freeze it, and pop or whatever. And because she was on a retired, she was on a fixed income, but she would make it happen every year. And she would, get on the phone, and she would tell one person, bring this, I need this, bring me $50, bring me $100. I'm throwing something today. I'm doing a Labor Day thing. Can you contribute? And my granny was a boss. When she told you to do something to do, I don't care who you was gonna jump and do it, and you wasn't gonna run your mouth. But it brought me back to, where are the matriarchs in the family? Who keeps the family together? Even in my family, most of the matriarchs are dead. The people, a lot of times, the people that you would expect to have wisdom to keep their family together, they don't. Some people were brought up where they made mistakes, and so and in order to not feel guilty about their mistakes, they stay away from their family. Some people can't stand their family, so they stay away from them. Some people can't stand certain people in the family, so I'm not going to this function because that person is going to be there. But there was a time where people, you got together regardless if you wanted to or not, because Granny wanted y'all together. Your great aunt wanted you together. Your great cousin wanted y'all to have something. Other than that, you wouldn't see that part of the family. My grandmother would make sure that I saw not only her side, my daddy's side, my grandfather's side, and, the different last names, from Barnes to Pelzer to Cochran's to Thomas. She would make sure everybody was there to enjoy each other and love on each other, if not year round, at least once a year. And I think that's what the black family is missing now, is a matriarch that, brings the family together, and that can put, if not heal wounds, put a Band-Aid on it so that you'll give it time to heal. And we don't have that now. Somebody that the young men and young women that are going through things and they can't talk to their parents about it, or they just acting out. A lot of times the grandmamas was there to settle that down, or come here, let me talk to you, and give them the real. A parent is a parent, and a parent does what a parent does. As a dad of 3 grown children, three grown children now, and 4-year-old, 4 stepdaughters. With my kids being older, my oldest 3, there is something that my mother provides that I cannot provide, and that's being a grandmother. A grandmother gives a different type of love. A grandmother gives a different type of energy. A grandmother gives a different type of connection. And Lord willing, when I get of age, and it's that time that my 2 granddaughters, I only got 2 granddaughters right now, will cling to me like my children cling to my mother. And in her own right, my mother is a matriarch. But because she makes sure that anything that is damaged, she tries her hardest. Anything, relationship that's damaged or anything that's going on in the family, she'll try her hardest to relay that to the other person, and that, you know, things will have a connection. And in watching these movies, the power that we had from back in the day when you're watching The Woman King, of this king that had this army of all women, and having their own land and their own pride about where they were from and the lineage. Both movies, you'll hear somebody say, I am, you know, in my case, I would say, I am Jay, son of Jameer. And it was like that pride of knowing who you were, or even saying that name to somebody, and a person, for it to be a respected, that you knew your lineage. I think that's another thing that's missing, that we don't know our lineage. We have to go find out where we're from. And to go back to the coworker that said, oh, slavery was so long ago. And it was like, bro, you don't even have a clue because you're not black. You don't understand. I don't even care. I don't care if you have a person that's mixed. Because if you have a person that's mixed and you can pass for white, or if you have a person that has black blood in them and something else in them. But if you saw them and didn't know, you wouldn't know. They don't have the same problems that somebody my skin color, or somebody that you know is black, or the outside world will look and say, oh, that's a black person. They don't have the same problems. They may think they do, but they couldn't begin to understand the different problems that we have as black people. Because so for them, because they believe that everybody, because a lot of people can't put themselves in other people's shoes. So they assume my world is the same as your world that you deal with on a daily basis. We both have bills. We both have cars. We both have to pay car insurance. We both got to register our cars. They don't get it. It's like air in between the thought of what's really going on. Even though they see all this stuff happening on TV. And I said, you know, me and the same person was talking, because I didn't get mad. I was just disappointed, and I didn't feel like going into detail at that moment and eating his ass up with facts, because it wouldn't have did no justice. And but what it did do is, like, I got to thinking, like, even back then, I'm pretty sure if Wakanda was real, they had their own money. Back when the Woman King and the True Story was going on, everything was going on, I'm pretty sure they had their own money. And I was like, wow, that's weird. Like, we live in a country. I'm 47 years old. I've never lived in another country in my life. Lived in other states, but never another country. Visited other countries. And one thing about this country we live in that kind of, you know, hit me too, was that people will say that this is not a racist country, that everybody has equal, we all start at the starting line and go from there. You can't tell me that. At my own job, I've seen racial incidents where a black person with more experience has signed up for a job, and a white guy got the job because not only was he white, because his father worked for the company, and he got the job with less experience, not even 2 years on the job, and the other person had over 8 years of experience on the job. So don't go there. Even being brought up, you see images of white people all day long. If you watch TV, you can watch TV all day long and damn near see no black person on TV, if that's your choice. Most times in most movies, you will not even see the real race that took place, that was actually like Indians. Most black and white movies from this time on are not played by Indians. It's played by white people dressed up as Indians. So what I'm saying to you, all the superhero movies that we've seen besides Black Panther have been white people. All the movies we see with the hero and from Arnold Schwarzenegger movies to Rambo movies to whatever war movies. Most war movies, black people don't even play a part. Like we was never there. Most movies you can see can go on through the whole movie and not see one black person, like we never existed. Cartoons, we never existed. So many different things. So what I'm saying to you, if you're a child brought up and all you see is white people doing everything, superheroes, TV shows, you can, without having the Cosby shows and without having the Jeffersons, without having Good Times, without having Sanford and Son, we would have never seen ourselves on TV. So majority of the time, all we had was white people to look at. So you'll grow up thinking that white people are the superior race that can do anything. They're the strongest. Even a lot of movies that you see with white women running around and beating up men and doing all of this, we assume that they're stronger than us, they're better than us. And that plays when you go into the work field, that plays when these kids go to school, thinking that they are subpar to them. But you tell me the country is equal. But back to the money thing. The money thing is that we live in a country where we're supposed to be the most diverse country on the planet. And all the people that have contributed to this country over the years have been multicultural. I mean, you got black, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Mexicans, you got Samoans, you got so many people have contributed to this country. But yet and still, if you look at the money, it's all white men. And it leaves you again like, wow, that is crazy. Like, even if we wanted to go to what I think would be the closest or the first people that should go on the bill, you would think, I would say a black person. I say the Native Americans. The Native Americans should have their face on something. I believe they should get them the $100 bill. And I'm not bypassing us or saying we wasn't here first and all that or whatever. But what I'm saying is, I believe everybody got a place. But there's it's all white men on everywhere you look. You gave a Buffalo, what's that, Buffalo nickel? Come on, bro. Still ain't them. So I don't know. The movie was, both of them were good movies, man. And I cried. And, I made a Facebook post and I was saying, I cry for what our people go through on a daily basis. But I cry more for what we do to ourselves. And at the end of the day, both of these movies were great examples of what we can do when we stick together. What we can do when we train together. What we can do when we build together. What we can do when we put our issues aside and understand that as a group, as black people as a whole, that our people are more important than any individual. Now, don't get me wrong, because I also made a status that most times, right along with the matriarch, even in black culture, we are more likely to come together under one leader. Come together under one leader and follow that one leader. And we do better. Because we all go into a group for that common goal. And I'm not saying all of us, but 95% of us will follow that leader. As long as we know that he or she has our best interest at heart and they are willing. And being a matriarch or being a leader, especially for black people, it's almost like you know you might have to die. Martin Luther King knew it. He said in his speech. Malcolm X knew it. Most of our black leaders, they know that they like what did Martin say? He said, "I may not make it to the mountaintop with you, but I watch the stuff that's going on with Kanye. I watch the stuff that's going on with Kyrie. I watch the stuff that went on with Colin, with the kneeling, and like I told you before on another video, everybody's truth is different. Some people don't want to hear the black person's truth. That's the last thing, because it haunts them of what was done wrong, and that means I have to do something to fix it. And if I have to fix it, then that's the issue, because I don't want to do nothing to fix it. I just want you to get over it. I just want you to shut up talking about it and move on. I just want you to get over it, do whatever you got to do, and just, move on. And that's not the way the world works. We saw that after we came out of the pandemic, and they did that with the Asian community, doing the Asian hate laws and all that, when I think we've been getting hated a long time before. When they strapped us down on them ships, it's been a long time. And one thing that I know for sure, there's a change coming. I can feel it. When you get, and say what you want to say about Kanye, say what you want to say about Kyrie, but when you get black men that start speaking up and they refuse to back down on their beliefs, and if we get black people as a whole to stop falling for this, oh, they crazy, oh, that was retarded what they said, oh, that was, all these disrespectful things. And the easiest way to dismiss somebody is to call them crazy. Same thing they did with David Chappelle. Said he was crazy for walking away from $50 million until he came back and showed them what I can do without depending on nobody. And that, oh no, I didn't go nowhere and go smoke crack. I didn't go nowhere and went crazy and all this type of stuff. But the easiest way to dismiss somebody is to call them crazy. I believe there are a lot of talks that need to be had. And, I see a lot of white people say, well, I forgot what comedian was saying that there, talks that need to be had or whatever. I understand that. But it's time to stop talking to people outside our race. It's time to stop talking. I'm not saying just cut off all people. What I'm saying is we need to talk. We as black people need to talk first. We need to come together first. We need to jail together. And when I say jail, I mean it's like when you make a pie or you make a fruit pie or you make some Jell-O and you throw stuff in that Jell-O. And, at first it's all loose and, if you tipped it over, you could spill it. But once it's cooked or once it's it congeals in the refrigerator, no matter what you do, once you get together, you can come on outside and do all you want to. But we have to be like that. We have to get out of this jelly phase where everybody doing everything and everybody over here look, hey, wake up. Let's come back together. And we have to start doing things that are better for us as a whole, not for just a community, but for every black person around the world. Because our rappers, our influencers, our sports players, you think that the only people that's listening to you may be the people from my hometown or the people in America. No, there are a lot of Africans and Jamaicans. There are a lot of Africans, black folks all over the world that are following our lead in America. And what example are we leading them? I hear YouTubers in Africa talk about hearing African children use the N-word. They weren't brought up in that. They don't even know what that is. But they get it from us. They get it from our rap music. And I've been hearing it since I was little. But we have to be more conscious and more prideful of what we put out and how we carry ourselves. I'm going to stop right here, y'all, because I can go on all day, all night. And I want anybody of any other descent, race, or creed that is not black to understand I am in no way, shape, or form racist. I do not have any hate in my heart for any race. And that I judge a person by who they are individually. Do I keep my guard up? I keep my guard up with any race. I don't know who you are. I don't care who you are. And I learn you first. If we're out in public and we're in a setting and blah, 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 and we speak, I'll be cordial, polite, hospitable, whatever you want to call it. But I'm just not going to let anybody into my circle. I have to know that you don't mean me no ill will. You don't mean my family no ill will. And that your spirit is, you bringing good vibes. So no, I'm not a racist. I'm just speaking the truth that black people need to come together. And we got things we need to do. So much love to everybody. Thank you for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, like button, leave a comment. These last, hitting that like button, leaving a comment, subscribing, does not only just something that YouTubers say just to be saying, because I say it because that means the video will be put out more for people to select and watch. Also share. I'm trying, like I say, we had 317 subscribers right now. I get an average view of about 25 to 30 views per video, which is not a lot compared to having 317 subscribers. But I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. That's my goal. This is also, YouTube is therapy for me to be able to get on here and talk to y'all or anybody that would listen. And at the same time, if I only had 3 people watching, I would still do this to vent, get my thoughts out, because too much is going on up here, so it has to spew out somehow. But thank y'all for watching. Peace.